All right, we're here. Baschamania, I think episode 147, brought to you by our friends at Attack. If you guys haven't downloaded the Attack app yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. As I've said before, Attack is an AI strength and conditioning coach, nutritionist, mentality mentor in your pocket. It's a beautiful app. Your age, your goals, your program. You go level up, download Attack. You can log your workouts. You can attack your workouts with workouts they'll give you. Awesome app. Download Attack. It's ATAC. It's in the Apple App Store. Corby, how are you?
Man, I'm doing good.
I don't know if it's a good or bad
man.
idea to get you all riled up before we start recording.
You know, man, I'm riled up. It's been a while. You know, Willie got sick on me. He's going to be out of quarantine on Saturday. So we haven't done a show since Iowa State. Haven't been able to speak about any of that yet. I'm all wound up. I've got a lot going on. I'm going to skip all that. I'm going right into these national duels. But first,
Jason Bryant
Yes.
slapped the wrist of those who call it national duels and not.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is not national duels. Sorry, I'm gonna get. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have two coaches. Sorry, Penn State. I'm sorry, Iowa. Collegiate Duals. It is not the national duels. It's the Collegiate Duals.
And I guess
I'm gonna get my hand slapped for that too.
I happened to see Jason Bryant last night tell somebody that, and as soon as you said that, I go, "Oh,
love it."
Jason
was on his nerd game there, little nerd game. I love it. I love when Jason goes nerdy with like.
I love it when he doesn't do it to me because I like learning. If he like puts out like a 10 tweet thread about something, I do enjoy learning about it because I probably would have never just taken the time to go look something like that up. I just don't like when he does it to me.
I think some people go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just say I think for the collegiate duels, the best thing we can do is start with like the 101 because I will shout out Intermat and Josiah Fanco. They're both I see creating content, and I know Rokfin's creating content because there's a pay-per-view, but I haven't seen a lot of content. When I was trying to look this up this morning and last night and really just try to prepare as best as I can, even though I know these preview shows, they're Corby Mania because you come with all the facts, you come with the value, and that's why I love having you on here. But as I'm looking this stuff up, I'm like, man, it's just not easy to see as much content as there probably should be. And I know, it definitely doesn't help if Flow ignores events like this, because I think even though Flow is a model based around promoting their events that they're streaming, I do still think it's a little weird they're not covering this more when you have like 6, 7 of the top 11 teams competing. I went through this morning, I think all the weights have 3 to 5 guys in the top 10 at each weight. It's a loaded bracket, loaded competition, and I am stunned there's not more coverage. I forgot the point I was trying to make initially, but there is some confusion. So yes. I guess we'll start at the events on Rokfin. It is a pay-per-view. We're not going to have the pay-per-view debate episode that I know. Not with me necessarily, just in general.
No.
But it's a $10.
I would love to get Martin to call in. Me, you, and Martin can talk pay-per-view. I would love to do that.
I'm gonna send him a text and see because I do think it's good for people to hear. I've heard obviously your side. I've heard his side, and I think it is an interesting conversation. Especially, I think it'd be good to have it after the event because you can talk the metrics, you can talk how it went, and you can have more of an intellectual conversation around it. So it is a $10 pay-per-view. It's a one-time pay-per-view cost on top of your Rokfin subscription. There's 12 teams competing. Starts at 11 a.m. Monday. The last duel is at 9 p.m. Eastern, which I personally don't like.
I think there was confusion there. My opinion, I don't know. I assume they didn't realize that part of the Panhandle was central when they made the event. It's central time zone. So now it becomes 9 Eastern, not 8 Eastern. And like you said, the planning and nothing against Frank Popolizio, Journeyman, and he'll probably admit it. Like that part of promoting an event isn't really his strong suit, I would say. Like, he does great events. He does his Journeyman Classics. He does some amazing freestyle stuff, but you always have to dig to find them. He has his own little Tornaflex bracketing thing he runs them on. They're just not his strongest suit, right? And I thought early on maybe he would get more involved. I thought maybe the Intermat team, maybe Willie, and maybe we would get more involved in it. I had some ideas when we were bouncing around. I wanted to go to each school and get some footage of guys and talk to the coaches about them, and then make a collegiate dual film about it. Just never surfaced. It just kind of, everybody just did their own thing. So it's no big deal. I hope in the future, I hope next year, maybe he reaches out. Maybe we're going to be down there. And maybe that can happen. That can form with Intermat. And then maybe next year it can kind of, Intermat can jump in maybe and start, doing that, promote it, go around, get some films going, get some stories, some interviews, promote the event, right? And we're going to be down there, and we're going to set up our cameras and stuff live. So our hope and plan is to snatch coaches, snatch athletes, and we can go live right there. So that's our plan. That's our hope, to do some of that. We'll be there doing interviews and stuff. And I don't know if I know Hazard and Fretwell are commentating, but there's a lot of duels in a row. I think Willie may jump in. I'm not sure how that's all going to work.
Yeah,
but it's going to be interesting. Can't wait. My thing though is, and I'm not going to get on the pay-per-view tangent at all, but a little bit on the format and setup of the event, a little bit, I guess. Initially, there was a Collegiate Dual Rokfin page started, right? Yeah. And you had Martin on, and he spoke about how that was going to run for 5 years, and they were going to do payouts, percentages on how you placed, right? Well, then all of a sudden, pretty much, everybody, a lot of people started pages that didn't have them, and everybody that has pages is now like, hey, sign up through us and pay the pay-per-view to watch, right? So now what's going on is all the programs are like, well, heck, we want the big portion of the sign up. Why should we share the sign up with 12? So it's kind of wrestling. We're eating our own again. This is why we can't have a national duels per se, and we have to go this collegiate route where red and blue don't wrestle. We can't figure it out, right? And the problem I have with the pay-per-view model, I'm not going to get into it. I do not mind a pay-per-view model to watch 19 dual meets. That's great. But as you know, in the wrestling world, you give somebody an inch, they're going to take a mile. Now what's going to happen? We already saw they wanted the pay-per-view Sacred Heart Penn State and Oregon, or whatever, another duel, I think Oregon State, right? So you're going to pay $10 pay-per-view for that. And then we're going to see the platform's not there yet, right? Like, how could Tony Hager charge a $10 pay-per-view for the Donnybrook when it's an 11-hour continuous stream? You have to go to Track Wrestling bout and watch the dashboard to find out who's wrestling. There's no scoreboard, no name on this thing. You have to go back and try to watch 9 hours to find out who wrestled. Like, you can't charge a $10 pay-per-view for that. When you get up to par with your competitor, okay? When you get up to par with your competitor, you have the software, you got one-click matches. Now, fine, but you want to charge 10 a month and then 10 a pay-per-view. That's 20 times. Now, you know what I'm saying? Let's say I do one of those every month. Now I'm at 240 versus the 150 on Flow. And yeah, their streams may crash, but guess what? They got scoreboards, they got brackets. I can go watch it. So to me, that's my debate a little bit. It's like, we want to say, oh, well, ESPN does it. ESPN Plus does it for the UFC. Stop it. That's who you're going to compare Rokfin to right now. It just, we can have this debate later. We can have this debate later, and hopefully we'll be able to after the event. Let's see these metrics. Let's see the case study Rokfin comes out with. It's just these teams. Listen, the pay-per-view isn't going to be as high as they think. They thought they were going to make the money by these subs at the Collegiate Duals on the channel, but now everybody's fighting to get their own subs. So where is this really going to benefit? Yeah, it's going to be the first wrestling event ever that teams get paid. But a team like Hofstra or somebody, if you're the last place and you trickle down, you end up getting $2,000 or $3,000. Yeah, it's $2 or $3 grand more than you would have had. But That's, you know what I'm saying? I understand. It's a wrestling event. Everybody's going to get money. Better than what we've ever had, can still be better. And that's where I come in at. And yeah, and then I want to get on this real quick. John Smith yesterday says that he's not sending his starters to the scuffle due to COVID. They're worried about COVID, but they're going to send their backups. So I guess backups are COVID. They can't get it. I don't know. So you're not worried about your backups.
Just give it to the starters. That doesn't make any sense.
I would think so. So I don't know what's going on there. I hope we don't see a trend of COVID ducking. You know, it's like if you're worried about COVID, then you would worry about COVID for your whole team, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. So I don't know. I hope we don't start. I know come Midlands and Scuffle next week. This event, I love it. But what started happening when they did these duels in Florida a few years ago, less people started wrestling at Scuffle and Midlands. You're going to see it again. Scuffle and Midlands fields are going to not be good. They're going to be way down. And people are going to be complaining about it. And I mean, already I tell you, Monday Glory not going, Schroeder not going, Purdue not going to send most of their starters, Princeton not sending a lot of their starters. Okie State's not going to send their starters to Scuffle. NC State more than likely no starters to Scuffle. A lot of teams. Iowa probably not a lot of starters to Midlands.
This kind of goes back to the you and Willie talk a lot about it. We don't have to rehash the whole thing, but the fact that the regular season doesn't matter.
It goes back to me, it's sports specialization, right? I mean, I've been thinking more and more about it, and it's sports specialization, right? Think about 15 years ago. Your average 18-year-old today probably has triple the mat time going into college than the kid did 15 years ago with the sports specialization, right? They used to wrestle 4 or 5 months a year. Now they're doing it 12, sometimes twice a day. So I think when they get there, they're that, and college coaches are, hey, instead of wrestling 25, 30 matches every single season, we wrestle 15. They're trying to get their guys to 4 national tournaments, right? And I don't blame. I'm seeing both. I've been in deep thought, had a lot of time and no shows and thinking, and I think a lot about wrestling. Obviously, every day I wake up, it's probably one of the first things I start doing. It's kind of just what I do, and so I've been thinking about that, and I think that has a lot to do with it, right? And what are we also doing? We're all of a sudden, what are we adding to college? We added more medical red shirts than ever. Guys skipping years and coming in, and guys it used to be out of college at 22, 23.
Look at Kemmer.
Now guys 26, 27. Yeah.
Kemmer is still not probably competing this weekend. It's like, what's the point of another year if you're not competing? And if you're not healthy or whatever, that's fine. But it's like, why stick around just for the end of the year for the national tournament? It kind of, I don't know.
I think,
it's disappointing. I guess that's a good segue to start talking about the actual duels. I'm
ready.
There's a red pool and a blue pool.
Mm-hmm.
They will not wrestle each other. And you know what? At first I was disappointed, but I do understand that, like, let's say Penn State, Iowa win each pool. Those guys are already going to potentially wrestle each other 3 times during the year. And they thought they'd get more coaches on board by saying you're not going to see your conference opponent once again. So, I don't know. It's not really a tournament if the 2 winners don't meet, but we are going to see, at least 2 duels per school, and then 3 duels really. 3 duels per school. So it's going to be fun. I don't know how you want to break this down. I guess I'll start with where your notes are at, because we could go.
That's fine. Let's go red.
You want to go red first?
Yeah, let's just do red. Like we could go. Let's do red. We could start with red mat 1 if you would like. That would be Lehigh, CMU, and Iowa, right? So those out of that mix. I mean, obviously everybody's going to have Iowa coming out of there. But we could potentially, we'll start at the top, right? That 3 there, because we have Stencil, Wood, Cassiope at heavyweight here in this 3. Okay.
I know. And if you look at the whole
pretty
tournament,
good.
We have half the top 10. You have Schultz and Kirkfleet in the blue too. So the fact that you have half the top 10 heavyweights here is pretty fun.
Yeah. To see these guys all go at it is going to be interesting. I don't know how it shakes out. I say Cassiope goes 2-0. I say, who do you like? Wood Stencil at this point?
It's tough. I personally like Wood.
I do too.
I don't know, something about him. I get guys stuck in my head, and even when I know, and the perfect example is Foca. I told you I liked Foca heading to CKLV. You said, he's a little small. He's not really there yet. And sure enough, that's exactly how it played out, right? But I had him in my head. Similarly, I have Jordan Wood in my head here. Is just like ready to see him kind of really elevate a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. A couple other ones may be interesting. I mean, Meyer beat Wenzel. Now we saw Wenzel just lose to Karchla, but Meyer Lehigh did beat him. So we could see a Meyer Marinelli. Now I'm not saying Meyer's on Marinelli's level, but he did upset Wenzel. So that's just something to keep an eye on. At 157, we're going to have Lovett from Central Michigan, who's a pretty athletic kid who's made the tournament before. And then we have Young and Humphreys. Now, this is an interesting match because Humphreys is really good on top, and he's very good with the legs. So if he can neutralize the match, that's just one to keep an eye on. Manzona Bryant, kid at Lehigh, is very athletic. I imagine, that's a duel where maybe they list both Siebrecht and Mirren. Maybe we see one of them go, they split there, maybe, and then Mirren goes on day 2. So we could see Siebrecht in one of those matches. And then Dresden Simon's a guy who's ranked up there at 141. He's pretty crafty, short, stumpy guy. Him and Ironman, keep an eye on that. And then in that pool, that's, out of that mix, those are really the highlight matches that I kind of think about in that pool. I have Iowa coming out of that. I imagine you do too. What about Lehigh CMU? Did you look at that duel at all?
I didn't look at it too much.
Okay.
I tried looking at kind of the surface level. I like the Missouri NC State duel. I like the Virginia Tech Sunkist kid or Arizona State.
Yep.
I like these duels that are like the exciting ones. I like leaning on you for the ones that are like, keep an eye on this guy, keep an eye on that one. Because I look at some of these things on the surface, and it's like, as soon as I look at the red pool, I think, can we get Marinelli O'Toole?
Yeah, well, we're going to get there. And then I just further down the road on this side, I feel Lehigh beat CMU. And then when we talk on the other side, I think Binghamton goes 0-2 against Missouri and NC State. So that would match up a CMU Binghamton, okay? And so last year, first round NCAA tournament, Doyle and Stencil met. Match starts, Doyle launches Stencil, throws him to his back to start the match. Stencil comes back, ends up pinning him. So that's just going to be interesting. Is Stencil going to be, hey, going to give this guy something for throwing me to my back at the turn? So it's just something or can Doyle do it again? So that's just one to kind of, if it happens, it's going to be in the 5th, 6th place matches. Probably a lot of people aren't too interested in a Binghamton CMU duel. I am, because I'm interested in every duel. But Doyle and Stencil, that's one. I mean, I broke every one of these duels down. That's something to look out for in that duel. Also, when CMU and Lehigh wrestle, this Connor McGonigal is a tough kid. And he's strappy, he's scrambly. So I'm interested, not that he's going to beat Simon, but just some of the scrambles and flurries in that match could be interesting. And then, hey, let's go over and talk about the Binghamton, Missouri, NC State. Man, this is going to be an unbelievable duel between NC State and Missouri.
I think that in Virginia Tech, Arizona State are like, those are just two stupid, exciting duels. Obviously, for me, my favorite is Penn State, Cornell. I'm looking forward to that so much. But man, Virginia Tech, Arizona State, and then this one is just
this one. So I mean, if you throw in, so you're gonna have we're gonna this is interesting too. At 97, now we got Louis Dupre going up. Let's be honest. I'll be honest. Hasn't looked good. Louis Dupre hasn't really looked good at 97. Yep. Hasn't got the feel going yet. He's a great wrestler. He has a good feel. So I think it's just a bigger guy, getting the feel for him. So I'm interested to see how we're going to get him with Trumbull, and we're going to get him with Rocky Elam. So it's going to be interesting to see where we're going to find out, where Dupre sits here, right? I mean, I could see him losing to Elam, but if he's not beating Trumbull at this point, then I'm a little worried. Not worried, but it's like, he's not really figuring out like I thought he would. Jeremiah Kent, Trent Hidlay. I mean, Kent's a big, strong guy. I look for Trent to win that match, but that's interesting. Let's go through that. Let's go through that duel.
Okay.
Noah Certain, Jacob Camacho. Who do you like in that match?
I like Camacho.
Me too.
It's like a gut call. You know what I mean? It's one of those matches.
Yeah.
I think he made great matches. Camacho, I think, is gonna pull away with it.
Now, Trey Crawford, and I always said O'Rine, but I'm being told it's O'Reaney, which okay, O'Reaney. So I like him over Crawford.
Yeah.
And then Alan Hart and Jack. I like Hart. What about you?
I'm torn. I don't know that I'm pulled either way more than the other.
And then Edmund Wilson. I think that is a toss-up match, but I'll give the edge to Wilson.
Yeah.
So then Jake Hughes and Ed Scott. Now this is
Wilson,
the match.
by the way, too. I will say that when you don't give Wilson credit, he shows up and has himself a day. That's what I look forward to.
My opinion. So this duel could be a 5-5 come down the bonus, unless
I hope it
a lot
is.
of people. Yeah, a lot of people think Jake Hughes, favored at 57 over Ed Scott. This is the match that I think can flip this duel meet. Okay,
I could be wrong, but Ed Scott's wrestling pretty good.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He went out there last year. He cut the 49. Wasn't a 49. Sucked it up because the year didn't count to get the feel, to get the matches, because it didn't count. And it's paying off. He's looking good at 57. That match, man, I'm torn with it. I'll go Scott. And then O'Toole, that could turn it for me because I'd have Camacho, O'Reaney, Wilson, Scott, and then both Hidlays would make it 6-4 duel for me. So that 57 is the turning point for me because I like O'Toole over Bullard. The question is, does O'Toole get bonus here?
That's what I was just thinking. When you talk about O'Toole and Elam, do they get bonus, and how does that and obviously we're talking to them because what they've been doing recently is very, very impressive on the junior world level, on a world stage. They're looking incredible. So you think about those guys for bonus, but really when you have a duel like this, I think I was reading a article that I want to say Earl Smith put it out about, questions we'll see at this event. And he put something good out that, it's just along the lines of like, when you have a dual meet like this, it's funny how sometimes rankings go out the window and you have that energy where you get the big upsets, you get those matches that maybe there's bonus. Like that's what I think this duel is going to come down to. Who gets bonus, who gets the upset. It seems so like 5-5, close. You got to wonder. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be some of these matches that maybe surprise you. Maybe it's bonus. I think it's going to be fun for sure.
And then, and can Hayden or Trent get bonus, right? Can Hayden bonus Mako or can Trent bonus Kent, right? And then I don't know if Elam can bonus Trumbull. And then you have Elam and Treffin, who Treffin's look pretty good. So to me, who I think wins is NC State.
I agree.
Nothing against NC State. I want to see Bull O'Toole. So I would like Missouri to pull it off. I don't think it happens. I think it's NC State. I think there's a couple toss-up matches in there. I think you could call 49, 57, and possibly 41 toss-ups, and I like NC State to get 2 of those, right? So I think they win the duel there due to that. Now I want to see Marinelli and O'Toole as much as anybody. My opinion, I don't think we're going to get it. And NC State does not match up well against Iowa at all. When we get to that later on, which we'll get to, I guess we can go there now. Since I have NC State winning the duel, I broke down NC State versus Iowa. And it sounds like as we go through it, you kind of got NC State winning it as well.
Same thing. I think NC State wins. I literally want Missouri just because I want to see Marinelli O'Toole.
We do a pick'em contest every week on duels. Willie picked Missouri. And then last night in one of our groups, chats, I broke the duel down, the matchups, and put who I thought was going to win. And then he came back. He said, "Oh man, now that you wrote it like that," he's like, "I've got NC State." He's like, "I think Scott can beat Jake Hughes, and that'll win him the duel." And I said, "That's exactly what I have." So, just my opinion. I would love to see.
I believe that duel is at 3:00 Eastern.
Okay.
I believe. So for those listening, it's on Rokfin, 3:00 Eastern.
I have no idea. We're going to be in the building probably an hour before it starts and probably leave an hour after it ends, I would imagine. But we did stay an extra day. So we do have a place on the beach there. And
the duels don't stop. Like the very first one is at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the next duel is 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Next duel, 3 p.m. to 4:45 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's nonstop. It's
12 straight hours or something. Yeah, I love it. That's great for me.
Well, two mats going. Two mats going.
Only 2. Yeah, and you know where it's 3-4, it's hard to watch, but you can we have 2 eyes. We can watch 2 things at once, right? So I mean, it's going to be unbelievable. We're going to get, and dual meets, like, you know, at a tournament, you miss matches. There's a bunch of mats going on. You can't see it all. This is going to be amazing. You can just lock in 2 mats. One thing, 2 people at home watching on Rokfin, you are able to run two computers. You can run 2 computers at home off your, same IP address. So you can set 2 computers up, mat 1, mat 2, and watch them. You can, I know there's, you got to go probably old school HDMI cable or I believe there's maybe one other way to get it on your TV, right? Some people.
I think I AirPlayed.
If you AirPlay, that's what
Apple
people do.
TV,
that's what they do. Yeah,
Rokfin, I've AirPlayed.
Yeah, I don't have that, so I'm still 15 years in the past. I run the HDMI cable. I'm not. I don't care.
Whatever gets on the TV.
Yeah, whatever gets on my big screen. So, but I'll be there. But no, that's it's going to be great. Can't wait. Now let's go into that. We'll start off then on the first place side of things on this Iowa final, right? I have Iowa versus NC State.
Yep, I agree.
To me, what you got Tariq Mirren, we got Tariq Mirren, right? Yep. And you have Hayden versus Brands, and you have Trent versus Miles or Assad. Those are the 3 matches that I give NC State a chance to win. I think unless we don't, now this is a duel where we're going to see Spencer, okay, this weekend. We're going to see him. He's going to wrestle. When, where, right? In a Missouri duel, I think they have to wrestle him to win. In an NC State duel, I'm not sure that they have to wrestle him to win. So I don't know if we see him against Camacho or if we see him early on against Berglund or Lane. And I have a hard feeling, I have a hard time believing that we see him 2 consecutive days, right? I don't know that they wrestle him 2 consecutive days right off the bat. So if we see him against Lehigh or Central Michigan, and let's say NC State wins, I don't know if we see him against Camacho. Maybe we do. I could be totally off my rocker, which I've been,
I also don't know if they know that right now. They might want to see, how he feels, what's going on. I don't think it's preset right now, but I agree. I do think we see Spencer this weekend.
Matchups will matter. I don't, like you said about Kemmer earlier, I don't think we see him yet.
No,
Go back to all his interviews, go back in time. He was the last one to come back. He really was unsure. He said he only came back for his title. He has a lot of miles on him. I'm not going to get into it, but he's got a minor nagging, reoccurring thing that happens. So that sets him back sometimes, that isn't able to train. And then, if you're off the mat for 10 days, it takes a while to get back sometimes. So, but he'll be back. Kem will be back. He's fine. He's going to wrestle this year. It's just not time yet. I'm not ruling out Midlands. We could see him at Midlands. Maybe we could see him for maybe 2. If we don't be surprised if we saw him at Midlands just for 2. A lot of times the first time out it opens, guys will go out. We see it in the beginning of the year. The first open, scroll back to the first weekend in November. How many guys went out, wrestled 2, and defaulted? It just happens. Coaches tell them, go get 2. Now, I'm not saying that happens for sure. If we see him at Midlands, that wouldn't shock me if he just did 2.
And by the way, I will say, too, that as fans, because I'm guilty of this. When you see someone not wrestling yet, you get like frustrated, but there is always 2 sides of it. Sometimes there is stupid reasons. Other times it's validated. And I know that, like, with the Penn State guys, when they don't wrestle, I'm usually pretty aware of why and what it is. So you don't see me nag on them too much because I know, they're banged up. They got the flu, whatever. So I we do have to kind of remember that they're just college kids. It's like they're just college kids. They're not professional athletes. NIL, maybe they can get paid a little bit of money, but they're not professional athletes. Correct.
And like you said, and I know too, Twitter now, everybody's wanting to fire up, but it's like, and sometimes, like you said, sometimes you may know more than I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to know a little bit more than everybody else, right? So sometimes you know a little bit more, so you just, say nothing because, hey, it's something nagging, it's this, or I'm not going to talk about the athlete, but there was a pretty big name guy that missed a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and we didn't say nothing. Why? Because we knew he was contact traced. Okay. We knew that he was contact traced. And so we didn't say anything. So, and I know he was ready
to go.
He was eager.
He wanted someone to call him out.
He was eager, but no. So you don't say nothing in them situations, right? So now this Iowa NC State duel, is there any other match besides? Now there's a couple, I guess. 97's interesting between Trumbull and Warner, and I think Scott and Young, the way Scott's been wrestling, can he neutralize and slow the match down, right? Other than that, I mean, I see it 7-3, 8-2 on paper for Iowa. I see a Missouri duel a lot closer for Iowa.
Isn't that funny about, and I guess this, I kind of not went off on Twitter. You say one thing that the public doesn't agree with, and it's going off. All I said was, I don't think Oklahoma State should be ranked ahead of Penn State anywhere on any level. But it's funny, as we're talking about how Missouri is a better matchup potentially for Iowa, but NC State looks better in the Missouri duel. It's funny how dual meets have that dynamic of matchups and how much those matchups matter. I saw that in again, one of the articles Earl Smith put out on Intermat about how Hofstra has 3 guys ranked. Unfortunately, they're going against 3 hammers from Arizona State. In another duel where they have 3 ranked guys against maybe not so great guys, that matchup looks so different because of how the duel is lined up. But I do stand by the fact that Oklahoma State should not be ranked ahead of Penn State anywhere on any level. Sorry, Earl, if you're listening.
He will. He'll listen. But love Earl. He's doing great work over there.
He's doing great work. And look, I'm a Penn State homer. Like, don't take my comments seriously sometimes.
100%. Yeah, no, we totally understand that. I razz on the ranking sometimes too. It's so funny when you got into it that day, I had to go look, and nothing again, just, when you're so entrenched in it, like even before I started, became on a podcast, like I've been doing this stuff forever. So when you're so entrenched in it,
I think you told Minio you were doing it when he was in diapers.
Yeah, I mean, and then Ramos actually came on and said that I was around Illinois when he was in diapers, which is true. I probably saw Tony wrestle his first match ever, and a lot of his matches growing up, I was around. But anyway, yeah. So when I don't even really pay attention to rankings because
I don't either.
I kind of know, right? You kind of know yourself. So Earl, I guess. I mean, and then I started looking the other day, and I mean, Earl does a good job. People don't know the old D1CW website back way before you, Bash. You probably don't even know about this one. And
I've heard of it. I don't know it familiar.
Yeah, and it was old school. Like every guy, you could go on the team and click on the guy. It was WrestleStat before WrestleStat. You could go each roster, each team, click on the guy. It would have a drop down of all the matches he wrestled that year. And so it was awesome.
And did Earl run that?
Earl ran that. That was Earl's website. He ran it for years. It had a forum on it. It was awesome. And he did rankings on it. And it was so funny because Earl Smith, it just sounds like some old 70-year-old smoking a cigar. You know what I mean? So, and his voice. So and then years ago, when I finally met Earl, I was like, oh my God, like he's younger than me. And he doesn't smoke cigars and he's not 70. So yeah, but he does a great job with the rankings, and now everybody's picking them up, right? I mean, rankings are on Big Ten Network, or Intermat rankings are on ESPN. So yeah, it's good, right? And listen, and I'm not a flow basher at all. You know that I don't. And some of those guys I get along with, and that's fine. We all have jobs to do, right? And but I think the competition is great, and that's why in my my tweet I said, hey. About that. I said, hey, well, CBS tells me about games that were played on Fox because, hey, if we want to be news people and wrestling, Willie and I on our show, we talk about flow. We talk about, go watch this on Flow. Who cares? You know what I mean? How long are you going to be petty,
And I agree totally. And I can't remember if I said his name to start the show or to you off air, but Josiah at FanCo.
Yeah.
Like, we
Josiah.
need more people. And I've never met him. I love the content he's putting out. It's very in line with what I'm doing. Like, just promote the sport, get content out there that's not predicated around. Obviously, you're always going to have some bias on Baschamania, on the Instagram channel and stuff. I try to promote athletes who come on. If you come on the show, we're going to promote you. It's just how it goes. Our audience is invested in you. We know your story. We need more people that aren't tied to a streaming service alone to promote it. As mad as I get or as frustrated as I get sometimes at Flow, I understand business. I'm a business guy. So I get it. The thing that sucks is when people sit here and complain and don't do anything about it. If you have a Twitter, and I'm going to try, I'm actually, I think, going to launch a Discord server. I don't know if you're into crypto NFT at all, but these Discord servers are going nuts. They're like the old forums modernized. Live chat, real time, none of this, go through a thread stuff, which if you're a forum guy, that's great. But these live chats, I think, could be huge. And I think just the more you get your voice out there, the more it matters. Sometimes people say, well, I don't have an audience. I don't have a voice. Just get it out there. And I think that will help the sport. And I think, the more people that jump in, the more people that, and Intermat's kind of an outlier because they're the biggest media out there that's not tied to a specific streaming service. They're the one media brand, I think, out there that is like a traditional hub. It's very unique that you don't have them running events. And I know Willie wants to do events, but that right now they're just news. And we need more of that. The more content being created, the better.
Yeah, definitely. And there'll be some announcements coming, but we are going to be streaming a high school event in a couple of weeks, the Geary Invitational on Matt Scouts. There's like 5 nationally ranked teams, over 30 nationally ranked wrestlers. And then there will be an event streamed in April on Intermat. So, so there's some things coming up down the pipeline, but it's very interesting. I like having more avenues out there for people to read, to go to, and I think it helps the sport.
Let's talk blue. Let's talk Blue Pool.
You want to talk Blue Pool? Okay, real quick. on real quick, I want to talk real fast on Red Pool for, I think we could end up with a Lehigh. We could end up with a Lehigh, Missouri, possibly, or a, maybe we could end up with that. If we do end up with that, there's some interesting matches in there. You could get Humphreys and Jake Hughes and Meyer, who beat Wenzel and O'Toole. And then Blue Pool, what do you think? Who do you like in the Blue Pool?
I
like your guys?
A
Do you
Penn
like
State
Penn State?
homer. I like Penn State. I think Penn State comes away with this. I will say that I love the Penn State Cornell duel. I think Penn State's going to win, sorry, Yanni, more than people think they're going to win by.
Now, who do you have? Yani versus
So
McLean.
I don't think we're going to have. Do you think Yanni's going down?
I was just trying to see what you say.
I'm assuming Vito's going 25.
Yes.
I don't think he's going 33. I think that, that's a win for Cornell.
No, we'll see Yanni at 49. He'll be at 49.
33 Roman. I don't know who they're going to throw out Cornell at 33. But
Probably
going through
Joy.
Yeah, I like Roman there. I love Lee. Yanni Bo's going to be a great match. Yanni's going to go away with it. Who do you like at 57?
Well, I don't know what they're going to do there, right? I mean, Negrin came out. I mean, Tony looked great against Humphreys, right? A lot of energy. Do they go with him or do they go with Bear Claw? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
Dude, I want him to win that duel so bad. He got screwed. He got screwed. That was like, what an awesome debut at Rec Hall, and then you get screwed. That ref was just, I don't, aside from the Bills games, I don't get on the refs too much on Twitter. That ref was atrocious. Atrocious.
He's bad a lot too. It's crazy, and he keeps going to nationals, and he's bad a lot. That's a toss-up match there. I mean, at 57, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if he can get to his legs like he was, and then the Dean Cardenas, right? I mean, how's that gonna play out, right? I mean, I think Dean wins it, but his old team.
But the storyline of Max Dean going against his old team with his new team, like, I'm here for that.
Totally. And we haven't seen Luis Fernandez since the Stanford match. Hurt his knee. Will he be back? I anticipate he will be. Now we got some interesting ones though. I mean, Kirk Fleet Fernandez. I like Kirk. I like Dean Brooks. Oh, Foca and Carter, right? Foca Scrambly. I think it can get some interesting positions in that match. I think it can be interesting scrambles.
I was high on Foca for the CKLV, and he let me down. And I think Carter is gonna do what Carter does, and that's sometimes keep matches maybe closer than they need to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know that anybody has more ice in the vein. So if we get those interesting positions, it's one of those matches I'm just not even going to worry about, because I've learned with Carter, if you're ever worried about his matches, don't be. The kid just has ice in his veins every time.
Yeah, he impressed me against Nolf at the trials. I was really impressed with that one. Vito Teskey. Teskey's was, I think he lost to Caban Band. It was kind of a head scratcher. Came back. He's been hot since, right? He's beat some really good guys. Beat Latona, beat Certain. So, Vito's first time down. Vito Teskey, see what happens there. I like Vito, but me too. I'm excited, right? Yep. Be some good scraps. But
Teskey, if I'm correct, Big 12 champ last year. Pretty comfortable at the weight. It'll be a great test for Vito.
Yes.
I think Vito's the better wrestler, but in this situation, I think it's going to be a great test for him.
And then There's a kid by the name of Pat Schoenfelder at UNI, 74. Really athletic kid, scrambly. I think when him and Foca match up, that could be something to just keep an eye on, a fun match to watch.
Yep.
And then I like Cornell over UNI. I like Penn State over UNI. And then I like Penn State over Cornell. Do you as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we've talked about, so then we got Penn State coming out of there, and then I got Cornell. I got Cornell beating UNI. So then I would have UNI Hofstra, and then I would have now this one gets interesting. Va Tech ASU. We've got being told Anthony Valencia will be there to wrestle. Anthony Valencia is wrestling on December 18th.
Could we see Cal Valencia?
I don't think so.
Could we?
Yeah, but I don't think we do. I
Okay.
think they leave him in red shirt for now. I think they go with Zane Coleman for now. I think they leave him in red shirt. But Anthony's interesting. Anthony's going to Mexico to qualify the spot on December 18th. Okay. They wrestle on the 20th in Florida.
Yeah.
So he's going to wrestle in Mexico on the 18th, travel to Florida on the 19th, and supposedly wrestle on 20 and 21. That's what I'm being told. I was told that he will be there. So that's very interesting. A lot of COVID going on, this and that. He's probably going to have to test to get back in the country. Probably, you know what I mean? So who knows? You know what I mean? What's going to happen there? But he supposedly is going to be there. So that'll be interesting. In his pool, he'll have Stam and Allray matches I think he can win. And then, this is going to be an interesting dual meet.
What do you think of 49?
Andonian Parco?
Yeah.
Or I like Andonian.
Yeah.
I like Andonian. He's just a honey badger, man. He's my favorite. He's the guy that I will not miss. I cannot miss. If he's wrestling, I have to watch it. And the next guy that's getting on my list at that right now, people, and I talked about him on the show before and early in the year and said guys are gonna learn to love this kid, is Dean Hamidi. Dean Hamidi, Wisconsin 165. Must watch kid. Must watch. But when Hamidi and O'Toole get together, oh my gosh, it's gonna it's gonna be unbelievable when that happens. But so Latona Courtney. Now Latona's struggling, right? We've seen some not so great results from Latona, all weight related. Kid's huge. He would be up if it wasn't for the extra year. Myers would be gone. He would be up. But the extra year, it posed some challenges. Got to cut back down. Going to get better as the year goes on. The body will get better. It'll feel better. It'll adjust, just like we talked about Foca a little bit, not cutting. That old body will adjust. It's going to happen for Latona. I expect second semester, if he does it right over the holidays, look to see a different Latona in the second half. So right now, I like Corby. Yep. Myers and McGee. McGee dropped a match to Joe Greenwood.
I like Myers there.
I like Myers.
Yeah.
Now we're listing Hilligus. Hilligus had been out. Then went to an open last weekend, and I believe retweaked the injury. So I believe we see Colin Girardi here against Vasquez, and I like Vasquez. Andonian Parco, I like Andonian. So you probably do too. So we're 2-2. Teamer and Brady, I like Teamer.
Yeah.
Valencia Allray, I like Valencia. Try the same. Then Lewis Coleman, I like Lewis. Then Bolin and Nummer, I like Bolin. So we're 4-4. Then I like Norfleet over Howard, and then I like Schultz over Traxler.
Same.
So that gives me ASU over Vatek. Great duel, 6-4. So then that would pit us with a.
Which is funny because very similar to the Red Pool.
Yes.
I agree with you. Whereas I think it's going to be Arizona State, I think it's going to be Arizona State, but Virginia Tech, a potential Makai Lewis Carter Staraki match is so how do you not root for that?
I know.
But I agree with
and,
you. I think it's going to be Arizona State.
And then we'll get Schultz and Kirk.
Yeah.
Great match. We'll get Dean and Northfleet. Northfleet's a big 97. Dean's coming up. Good test to see, is Dean going to be able to handle the big 97s? I like Brooks over Nummer. I like Starocki over Coleman. So on the back end there, I mean, that's four in a row. Maybe Schultz beats Kirk. And then I like Valencia over Edsel. I like Teamer over whoever they run out there. And then Courtney I like. And then I like RBY and Lee. And then there's a toss-up match, Parko and Bartlett. That's a toss-up match. I got RBY, I got Lee, I got Starocki, Brooks, and Dean. And then I got toss-ups. So if Schultz wins and Parko wins, this is a 5-5 split.
It could be interesting. These are
so if you look at this, I mean, Schultz beating Kirk, is that going to surprise you at this time of year?
If anybody beats Kirk right now, I'd be very surprised. I think he's on another level. Schultz is very, very
huge.
Good. He's ready to go, and he's training with my guy Eric Thompson right now. You know he's going to be ready. Eric obviously knows Kirk very well, but yeah, I'm a Penn State homer. I do think Penn State's going to win. I think Kirk takes that match. I think Bo Bartlett shows up. It's hard for me not to root for those guys and think that. You're probably the more non-biased one here for the people listening who want an honest take. I was like, it can happen, but
here's the thing. Can Starocki and Brooks, can Starocki major Coleman? Yeah, he can. Probably will. Does he tech or pin him? Don't know. Brooks, is he going to major Number? Yes. Does he tech or pin him? Don't know. Can Teamer major Barraclaw or Tony?
You know, it's one of those things,
right? If he can beat Negrin, if he can major there, and then Courtney can major at 25. So each team has two potentials for kind of majors, right? I don't know if there's RBY. That's going to be the one. Can RBY get motivated? Or he's always motivated, but can RBY get going early and open it up against McGee? Can RBY major McGee?
I think yes.
That can be one that, because you could start this duel with Courtney with a major, and then if RBY comes back with a major, and then Lee Vasquez, and then Parko Bart, they need Parko to win, and they need Schultz to win, right? Yeah. To give them
and I don't think it's going to be happen. Obviously, I'm biased. I don't think it's going to happen.
I say Penn State wins. I think that there's just a lot for Arizona State to do. They need to win 2 toss-ups. They need to major twice. And if you look at it, Penn State guys should major in a few places. It's kind of a reach and I could see RBY open it up.
You know, I got to think that I'm always careful because I'm close to a lot of the Penn State guys. I try not to give away anything, but I'll say this as a fan. For years, Penn State was bonus points. Pin, tech, pin, tech. We haven't seen that. You know, the same coaches are at Penn State. They didn't stop liking bonus points. They didn't stop preaching bonus points. At some point, I do think we're going to start to see that more because, these are guys who don't want to just win. They want to dominate and they want to score points. And I keep kind of waiting for the guys, and to be honest, the guy I'm seeing it, well, Roman probably the most, but second most, the guy I'm seeing like that go get it is Max Dean. He goes out there looking like Zane, looking to inflict pain. But I'm wondering if this is going to be the event where maybe we see Penn State get back to some of those bonus point habits a little bit. And I think if that happens, we have like you're talking about.
I think by the end of the year, you'll see Nick Lee always does it, but you'll see Nick Lee get better on top, which is going to be scary. And you're going to see Bo as well. Jimmy Kennedy's going to start coming into play here as the season goes on. Jimmy's really good technician. There was a reason that they swapped Varner and Jimmy. Where are they struggling a little bit right now? Where are the young guys in the room right now? 41, 49, right? Trying to develop Van Ness, trying to develop Bartlett, trying to figure out 57, right? Those are all guys those are Jimmy guys, right? So he'll get in there. They'll figure those out. Those guys will keep getting better. He'll develop those guys. And yeah, I mean, listen, March is going to be great. I mean, with the additions up there now, we got Massa back. We drug Massa out of the woods and got him doing open. Now he's back. And Soriano's going to be back. And so Michigan's going to be in there. Iowa's going to have a great team. Penn State's going to have a great team. You know, where a couple months ago, it was Iowa's going to run away with this thing and it's going to be boring. I mean, Detroit's going to be, it's over with. You know, Willie was talking about next year, Penn State Willie. He went to
I love Penn State Willie. I want to join the fan club.
He went to 2023 crystal ball rankings. You know, it's over. And then, he jinxed everything and boom, now we're back to a 3-team race. And
let me ask you this. As we kind of wind down the Collegiate Duals talk, you and Minhyo went back and forth a bit. Yeah. And one aspect that is an interesting discussion point is Cornell is going to do finals online, which I don't think is as big of deal as the media is making it sound. And I'm not like throwing a dig at Pat. I'm just saying in general, the media right now is anything they can do to instill fear in people, they are. And it sounds worse than it is with Cornell doing finals online. Staff is still reporting. Are you at all in Corby's brain worried about COVID in March? You know, we talked about earlier the fact that John Smith not sending starters to a tournament because of COVID. You know, Cornell going to online classes. Cornell is still competing this weekend. I keep getting tweets like Cornell has come out and said it, the Journeyman Duels, and they've tweeted like Cornell is wrestling. They'll be there. Yani said it. For anybody wondering, yes, Cornell will be there. I'm just using it as a segue. Do you think COVID's going to tweak things up in a couple months?
I hope we learn from this little whatever name they put on this new one, Omicron or whatever. To me too, like I'm not a big hey, listen, we did what we had to do early on and it was what it was. And you wear your mask, you do what you have to do. But at this point where it's like, okay, this new Omicron is basically like a body flu. It sounds like, remember, like at the first virus, it was like, oh, well, you're going to come in contact with somebody and you're not going to get sick for 5 to 7 days or whatever it was, right? It seems like now this Omicron, people are like going to somebody's house and then getting it the next day. So what's that tell you? That tells you that it's basically down to a cold now, right? So why are we naming a freaking cold? That's the issue, right?
Throat is the number one symptom for the new
strain. Right, we're naming a cold. Right? It's like now, remember when you grew up, a thunderstorm would just blow through? Now the son of a bitch has a name. Every thunderstorm has a name. You know what I mean? Like, I swear it does. So it's like now we're naming all. So hopefully what we're going to learn from this Omicron thing is that, listen, everybody's getting it and the numbers are outrageous right now and everybody's getting it. Why, guys? Because it's down to a common cold. That's what we've been waiting for, right? So hopefully everybody just relax, deep breath. It's okay. Go back a few years ago, and I'm not one to be like, oh, this was. Listen, every cold, the coronavirus is basically every cold's a coronavirus. It doesn't mean they're all COVID. You understand what I'm saying? They're all from the coronavirus. So when I don't know, I'm no doctor, but it's like, what are we doing here? We keep naming everything. Like, I don't know. To me, I learned last week with this Omicron that like, wait a minute, a buddy of mine I know went over to friends' houses and they, the next day, like, oh, hey, we we're sorry, we ended up testing positive. We have it. The next day he was sick, he tested positive. The next day. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the cold now. It's like you go to somebody's house. It's not like waiting 7 days. So hopefully it's not over, but hopefully we take a deep breath, relax.
I haven't been to NCAAs in 2 years. And that, to me, like, selfishly, I didn't go to NCAAs last year, even though I had a media credential, because it wasn't worth it to me to just go try to work and create content and talk to people while in a mask. I can't breathe good out of my nose. So I'm like, I didn't want to go. But it's not even just that. I just hope the fans are back, because going to grab food in between rounds and you're getting a burger at some hole in the wall bar and 40 people are talking about that round, that's the best. That's what I hope we get back to. Also, I don't think we talked about it real quick, but I'm sure you want to. Assume Arizona State, Penn State for a second, Virginia Tech, Cornell.
Got it. Let's go. We'll have Latona Vito, right? Yep. I like Vito there. We'll have Myers, LaJoy. I like Myers. Hanlovic, Girardi's kind of a toss-up. Now, here we go. Yani and Donian. Yani and Donian. Now, Yani gets in some funky positions. Yani gets up into some guys. And Donian's a honey badger. Now, if there's one guy in the country at this weight class, not saying that's going to happen. If there's one guy in the country at this weight class that I'm very interested to see this match, just because he lets everything go and he'll just go for it. So I'm interested to see that. I like Yanni, but I'm interested, right? I just think it's going to be fireworks. There'll be some, there's going to be a couple times in that match. You're just like, you just look at the screen or the match with your mouth open. It's going to happen. Yapuzin, Brady, let's see. That's a toss-up match. Ramirez, Allray, toss-up match.
Yep.
Lewis and Foca. I like Lewis. But let's see what Foca can do, right? I like Bolin versus Lowe. I like Cardenas over Howard. And I'd probably at this time maybe like Traxler over Fernandez. So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 and a couple of toss, 4 for Vatek with 1, 2, 3 toss-ups. So I probably lean Vatek in that duel. I'd have to go look at it a little closer, but I'd probably lean Vatek in that duel. Be an interesting duel, though. And then what other matches? Let me look here if I have any other nuggets that I want to throw at you. No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. Are you going to be watching all day? You're taking work off Monday, Tuesday. What do you got going on? Did you reschedule things?
For me, the last 2 weeks of the year at my marketing company always die down. A lot of our clients take off for a week. A lot of the business owners are gone. So for me, it's one of those things where I'll have a real quiet day. So I'm just going to have it on all day long. I don't like the last duels at 9 o'clock at night, only because I'm an early bird. I get up at 5. I go to bed at 9, but Penn State, Cornell, I will stay up for it. Trust me, I'll be up till 11. So we have duels from 11 a.m. to like 10 p.m. ish or something like that. And then we have the next day, they start at 2 o'clock, and then the championship matches are at 6 and 8. So it's going to be a good event. I'm pumped. I can't wait. It's on Rokfin. It costs $10. I do want to have the Corby Martin episode if we can make that happen. After
I would love to.
I'm 100% down. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think it'll be fun. All right, Corby, anything else you want to touch on real quick before we go?
No, just tune in, everybody. Rokfin Collegiate Duals channel is how you get on it. You have to be a subscriber to the Rokfin platform, and then it is an extra $10 pay-per-view. You're going to get about 19 dual meets. Much worth it. I was one of the first ones to come out and bash the pay-per-view model. I do not like it, but for an event like this, if I was at home, I would pay the $10 to watch 19 dual, or the $20 to watch 19 dual meets. If you join for a month, it's $19.99 or $9.99 plus the 10, $19.99. You're going to get 20 dual meets. What? I mean, how do you, I mean, 19 dual meets, a little bit more than a buck a dual. I mean, you can't really beat it. I just don't like where we may go in the future. So what you're telling me then in a couple weeks, Willie and I can just pay-per-view our first word.
Right. Yeah.
That's where we're gonna, I just don't know if that's where, and in this money hungry world we live in, believe me, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And I don't like that I have to join the platform, and I get it because the platform needs its money too, but you can, just to be able to buy the pay-per-view without having to join, I think would be another way to go. Like, hey, make me sign up. I got to sign up. I have a login. My name and email is locked in. I don't have to purchase a subscription, but I can purchase a $10 pay-per-view if I want. Let me get my feet wet. Let me get into your platform a little bit, right? Watch what you got going. Then maybe I'll continue to join. So I think that would be an avenue we could go, and I get why they didn't go that way. So I got a lot of questions, man, when we get this, if we can get this episode going with Martin.
I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna try to set it up. So all right,
let's go,
guys. Thanks for tuning in, Corby.
Thank you, buddy.
Soon. Awesome. Man.
Yep. Bye bye.
And the beat goes on.